Hey, what's up everybody? This is Rob Schou with EXP Realty. Today we're going to talk to you about buying waterfront in Southern Maryland. Alright, so like I said, we're going to talk about buying waterfront in Southern Maryland, but before we get started, if this is your first time on our channel, make sure you click that subscribe button, click that little bell so you're notified every time we put out new content about living in Southern Maryland. Honestly, we love helping people out moving down to Southern Maryland, especially when they're looking at waterfront, which is one of my passions. So if you need any help, if you have any questions, make sure you reach out and we'd be happy to help you with your move. So my whole life I have lived on or near the water. When I was a kid, I grew up in Annapolis, and every single day in the summer I would go down to our local marina in Annapolis and I would either fish or I would crab. And so that love of fishing and outdoors and crabbing really drove me later on in life to find other opportunities like that. So I actually then went to St. Mary's College down here in St. Mary's County in Southern Maryland, and got to enjoy going to college at a place that literally the campus is right on the water. We would take the different boats out, we would fish from the pier, we would fish from the different shorelines and stuff like that there, and just really enjoy ourselves. Once I graduated college, I was a teacher, and it was tough to find waterfront in a teacher's budget price range kind of thing. So we look for different ideas. My wife and I look for different ideas of where to live. We lived next to marinas, which made it so we could easily access the water with the boat that we had. And as we started, progressing in our careers, we started moving up more and more in these different water-oriented properties. So we started out by marinas, then we went to water access in a really beautiful water view house, and now finally we've ended up on waterfront, a waterfront home here in St. Mary's County. We have a pier and a boat lift and all that stuff, and I gotta say, it is the absolute best way to enjoy the water. But there's a lot of stuff you got to go through to get to this point with a waterfront property, and there are a lot of houses and a lot of properties especially you have to look at and kind of rule out before you find that right waterfront property for you. So today we're going to talk a little bit more about is how to kind of find those different properties. So I believe Southern Maryland is one of the best places to buy a waterfront property in Maryland, just because of the excellent water opportunities you have, but also because there's a lot of affordable, relatively speaking, affordable houses on the water in Southern Maryland. For those of you who don't know, Southern Maryland includes Charles County, it includes Calvert County, and it includes St. Mary's County. Now, I'm going to start with Charles County. Charles County is the westernmost county of Southern Maryland, and the two main, well, actually there's only one main body of water that Charles County has for waterfront, and that's the Potomac River, and we call this area the Middle Potomac River. And you can see on the map here areas like Cobb Island and Port Tobacco on this bend before it goes up towards Washington, D.C. are some really prime areas for you to be able to buy waterfront property. They're tucked back on creeks, and some are on the main Potomac River, but all of them are really great options if you're looking for that affordable Southern Maryland waterfront home. The river quality there, it does get a little muddier there. It's not as clear as other areas further down the river or even out towards the bay. But overall, it's a great mix between a nice open riverfront area and also close to all those amenities around DC, Waldorf, and all that kind of stuff. And a good intersection of home prices too. You can find a reasonably priced waterfront home in that Charles County area. Now, Charles County does have a tiny portion of water frontage on the Patuxent, and that's actually in Benedict. You don't see many houses going up for sale in Benedict, but that's one to watch for because that Middle Patuxent area is a nice area to live as well. So the second county, and I think the best value, is St. Mary's County. Now, St. Mary's County actually is pretty fortunate because we have 3 distinct areas of waterfront and little nooks and crannies off of each of those. So on the northern part of St. Mary's County, the northern part of that peninsula is the Patuxent River. Now, the Patuxent River, you can find properties from about the Solomon's Bridge, which is California, Maryland, into Hollywood and up that into Hollywood, into Golden Beach, and all those areas going up the river. And it's a really nice area of the Patuxent River just because you're close enough to the mouth of the river, that if you want to go out to the bay, if you want to do some of that open water fishing that is great around the Chesapeake Bay area, it's not too long of a boat ride. But then you're also really protected on those windy days, and there's a ton of restaurants on the Patuxent for you to go and visit. It used to be a river that we lived on, and we actually belonged to a marina on that river. And besides the boat traffic, which could get a little bit crazy on the weekends, we really enjoyed it because of how close it was to everything. And honestly, you could get out and go enjoy the water on almost any day in the summertime, especially, even if it was a little bit windy. So that can be a really great option for you. Now, in St. Mary's County, the waterfront properties on the Patuxent tend to be more expensive than the waterfront properties, say, on the Potomac. And that's really because of the amenities that are around there, all the different restaurants and that kind of stuff. And you're closer to town centers when you're on that Patuxent River than compared to like the Potomac River or even the Chesapeake Bay. So kind of going to the east and going down the shoreline a little bit, you're talking about the Chesapeake Bay Shoreline. Chesapeake Bay Shoreline by far is is probably the best kind of waterfront if you love views. So you would get a beautiful view of the sunrise every single morning if you're on that Chesapeake Bay Shoreline. Now, those unobstructed views come with problems though. The one big problem is the exposure to the elements, so you're gonna get a lot of wind. So if you have a pier on the Chesapeake Bay, it's kind of got to be an overbuilt pier, a sturdy pier, because you're just gonna get exposed to a lot of wind. And on some of those rougher days, you're not gonna be able to get out on your boat. You're not gonna be able to go out there and enjoy the water as much. But for just that beautiful view, just that beautiful experience of being on the water, that Chesapeake Bay shoreline, it cannot be beat. It is absolutely gorgeous. And so the last body, kind of major body of water, is the Potomac River. Now the Potomac River has so many tributaries off of it in St. Mary's County. There's Smith Creek, there's St. Mary's River, there's St. George Creek, that there's lots of different houses and lots of different housing options on it. But there's not as many amenities as, say, the Patuxent River, so house prices tend to be a little bit less than the Patuxent River. There's just not as many restaurants and marinas on there, so the property values aren't as high as, say, the waterfront on the Patuxent River. I really love the Potomac River. It's a little bit quieter. It can get a little rougher at times because it's a bigger river, but I love how quiet it is. I love how clean the water is, and I love being able to go out and go fishing or skiing or tubing and really not fight with any other boaters and not really have any problem with getting in the way of anyone else. So for me, for my money, I love the Potomac River. I know some people really love to go out there, maybe booze cruise and go out into restaurants and kind of stuff like that, and maybe that's your jam, but that would definitely be more of a Patuxent River kind of deal than a Potomac River. And the last county we're going to talk about is Calvert County's waterfront. Now, Calvert County's waterfront is kind of unique because it's surrounded by water on both sides, kind of like St. Mary's. But Calvert County has the Chesapeake Bay on the east side, and on the west side of the county is the Patuxent River. And the Calvert County runs with the Patuxent River almost up to its beginning. So there is a lot of water frontage on the Potomac side, or on the Patuxent side for Calvert County, and you got some opportunities to find some good waterfront there. As you're getting closer and closer to that capital region, those other northern, north central parts of Maryland, the waterfront property does increase. But you can still find some good deals. Another big hot spot for people to look for real estate when it's waterfront real estate is Solomon's Island and Mill Creek. That's a really great little spot for people to find some good waterfront there that has a close proximity to restaurants, really close to the open Chesapeake Bay, and you can just explore a lot of opportunity. Now, the Chesapeake Bay side of Calvert County is known for its cliffs. So there are huge cliffs that run from about Solomon's all the way up to around Chesapeake Beach. So the waterfront along the Chesapeake Bay there that gives you access to use your boat and do that kind of stuff is kind of limited because the cliffs are up to 100 feet tall. And if you're looking to have the views of water, I definitely would recommend them, but if you're looking to be able to access the water, sometimes the properties along the Chesapeake Bay and Calvert County can make it so you can't really get down to the water easily, and it may make it so you can't even have a pier or something like that. So if you're looking at those Chesapeake Bay properties in Calvert County, make sure you're able to access the water the way that you want to before you make any offers or before you commit to purchase that property, and get out there and talk to a local professional about it. That kind of brings me to the last topic we're going to talk a bit about today, and that's waterfront regulations in Maryland. There's a lot of different regulations for a lot of different counties, but it basically boils down to one main thing, and it's whether or not your lot has riparian rights. So if riparian rights are defined as your ability to go to and from the water, basically, and riparian rights are only granted to you in your deed. So if you are someone looking at a waterfront property, or have your real estate professional or a lawyer research the deed of property to make sure the deed states that that property line goes to the water's edge and that the riparian rights are included. Because if you do not have riparian rights for that property, you won't be able to construct piers, you won't be able to do that kind of stuff. So let's say you found your perfect property, you know you have riparian rights, now you want to build that pier. There are rules about where you can put the pier. You cannot just put it on your, neighbor's side because you want to leave as much as your shoreline up. Your riparian rights, your rights to use your water, cannot impact other people's rights. So each county has different setback requirements from your property lines. They call them lateral lines when we're talking about riparian rights, about where you can put your pier or where you can put your boat lift. So make sure that you talk to someone, or either a real estate professional, either the county board of zoning, or a lawyer, about where you can put that pier on that prospective property if it doesn't have one already. Now, it is nice if it already has an existing pier, as long as it was permitted and as long as it was done properly. You normally don't have too many problems with it, but it is still something. Even if a pier is there, make sure you get a plat to understand where that pier is in relativeness to the property lines, so you don't have any problems down the road. So with waterfront properties, the biggest thing is just do your homework before you're making sure you want to put an offer on it, to make sure it's the waterfront and the area that you want. So if you need any help or have any questions, make sure you reach out using that contact information below. And again, if this is your first time on our channel, make sure you click that subscribe button, click that little bell so you're notified every time we put out new content. All right.